Hello and welcome back to another week of Sambo iRacing. We're back in the Porsche Cayman, the GT4 Algarve for yet another track guide. Now, if you're going to run this in the open setup series and you want to race the exact setup being driven in this track guide, you can go to our website, sambosetups.com, or our Patreon page. There are links to both in the description. As always, we're going to do a hot lap, then a breakdown, then we will be back in the cockpit one final time in the driving line on. Any questions, do let me know in the comments, but the brake bias and the track temps are already shown on the screen. Enjoy. So we are smashing it down the main straight, looking for our braking marker into turn one, which is coming up on the left here, just after the 250, just after the 200, sorry. On the brakes to about 50%, we're going to trail it off down to third gear, back on the gas, wide entry into two, and a nice wide entry into three. On the brakes, rolling on to about 50%, trailing it off down to second, back on the gas. We reach 100% once we get all the way over to the right side, and then we can cut back across here, just stay inside the track limits as we go through turn four. Now for turn five, as soon as we start going down the hill, we use that white marker on the right hand side, holding the brakes to about 50%, long trail off, back on the gas in second gear. Now turn six is nice and straightforward. Just getting our left-hand tyres on the rumble strip, looking for that 50 on the left-hand side. On the brakes to about 30%, little blip of gas. Now on the brakes, just holding it around 20%. Trail it off all the way, and then we'll get back on the gas as we go up the hill once more. Going to head over to the right-hand side. We're going to cut back and take 9 absolutely flat. And then once we get to the crest, on the brakes, up to about 45%, and then long trail off down second gear, back on the gas. And 12 is quite similar, just hitting that, and now we're straighten the car up on the brakes to about 50% as we go around the turn 13 hairpin and smoothly back on the gas. Over to the left-hand side as we get to the end of the grass, on the brakes to about 30-35%, long trail off again, back on the gas in second. Now a lot of cars you can take flat through here, but just lightly leaning on the brakes there, and then back on the gas in fourth. And we pin our ears back for the line, and over and across we go in a 1:50.1. A breakdown lap coming up next. Right, here we are on the breakdown lap. So our first braking marker, just after the 200 on the left-hand side. So there's the 250. We've got the 200 coming up now, and you've got this little white line across the road. So as soon as we've gone through that, we're going to get on the brakes to about 50%, all the way to the 50 line, which we're just running over now. Now we're going to trail it off. We get back on the gas in third gear at the apex. And then we can take 2 flat out, just getting our right feet over the rumble strip, and once we get over to the left-hand side of the track, we get on the brakes again. We roll on to about 50% and then roll it back. We start getting on the gas in second gear at the apex of turn 3, and we want to be all the way over here so that we can get our left-hand tyres on the rumble strip for turn 4. Move our way back across. Now for the hairpin, we've got this 50 board on the right hand side, and we've got this little white line alongside it, and it's as we get to that white line we get on the brakes, and again just holding it around 50, and then we trail it off down to the apex, and this is where we start picking back up on the gas in second. We get up to 100% once we know we've made the exit. Turn 6, we're just going to run our left hand tyres over the rumble strip. And now we're looking for this 50 on the left for turn 7. So we're going to get on the brakes, only up to about 30-35%. Little blip of gas here, and then we're going to immediately come back off the gas and back on the brakes, only to about 15-20%, all the way down to the apex. And that's when we get back on the gas in second. Turn 9 we take flat, and again just getting our left-hand tyres on the rumble strip. But we're going to get on the brakes just as we get to the top of this crest here and the end of this grass on the left-hand side. So we get to the top of the crest, on the brakes to about 35%, and just holding it, long trail off, down to second gear. We're going to start getting back on the gas at the apex. Give ourselves some room on the right so that we can cut back. And then basically, as soon as we're over to the left-hand side and we can straighten our wheel here, we're going to get on the brakes for turn 13. And again, rolling on to about 50% and then rolling back off. Back on the gas at the apex in second. over to the left-hand side, and we're looking for the end of this grass here for turn 14, and we're getting on the brakes to about 25%, trail it off, and then we pick back up on the gas in third gear, more or less where the apex is. One final corner to go, so we're going to start our turn in just before we get to the end of this green asphalt. And then we're going to get off the gas and only on the brakes to about 8-9%, and then we get back on the gas once we've got the car over to the right hand side, wanting most of the car to be over to the right hand side of the white line, but our left hand tyres remaining on the track so you don't get the off track. And that shall conclude the Porsche Cayman 718 GT4 at Algarve. We've got one final version coming up next with the driving line on and without me talking.